Edit audio.
Hey everybody, so this is normally where the well-adjusting opening goes, but today we're doing something a little different. It's a collaboration with our pals over on the Into the Mud podcast. So sit back, relax, and enjoy our chat with Into the Mud hosts Alex and Drew, because today we chat, well, anxiety.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Into the Mud podcast. While others celebrate the wins,
we celebrate the mud. I'm Alex Human.
I'm Drew King, and today is our very first collaboration podcast episode with the amazing, well-adjusting podcast. Would you like to introduce yourself, or shall I introduce you? We have Robin and Steph.
I almost want to put you on the spot and be like, what? And he'll be like, her name was Harriet.
Yes.
Can't remember anything else.
Jessica.
I think she has a bad childhood. All right, my name is Robin. I am the host and alongside producer Steph of Well Adjusting. I was born a small white baby in upstate New York. I think I went back a little too far. I'm an actor, a writer, a producer, and I talk too much.
And a funny person. I'm Steph.
Thank you.
I'm Steph Colburn. I run a production company called Edit Audio, and we make the Well Adjusting podcast together.
And I was in charge of bringing the second mic.
I was like, are we going to address
We're going to need to address the elephant in the room. Like, that's the kind of week I've had.
Listen, sometimes you have a muddy day.
It's been a week.
Yeah, how are you feeling? What made the week so wild and muddy and
well, one of my
anxiety-inducing?
Children, I'll just say that, and I won't say more for the sake of,
Okay.
Sometimes their friends Google things. One of my children, we're going to leave it at that.
Okay.
And then just work's kicking in, like things are getting busy and menopause and hormones and maybe some Wellbutrin and maybe things of that nature.
We love a new drug.
New drug.
New drug, yes.
It's eclipse season. Mercury's in retrograde. The stars are not in our favor this week. They're shaking things up.
They certainly are shaking things up.
Yeah.
I definitely feel it.
This
which
week is wild, yeah.
Appropriate for the topic because today we have decided that our topic of conversation is going to be kind of point blank anxiety.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we all are not foreign
I think
to
everyone got
anxiety.
anxious with my intro.
Yeah.
But the reason I'm thrilled about having this collaboration is because we have a lot of crossover. We are very similar in, I feel like, the content that we're choosing and the guests that we have and the conversations that we're having.
Yeah.
I feel like you're much smarter and a little bit more intellectual in therapy.
Well, so tell us.
Did anybody catch that? She was like,
She's like, well, we are. Could tell us, give us the little blurb of what Well Adjusting is all about.
so we're kind of we're getting into your business. Like we're on the third cocktail, and I've decided it's time to ask about your childhood.
Yes.
That's our
Yeah.
vibe. It's like group therapy,
Yeah.
but with a cocktail.
I always say if it's a self-help podcast, but funny, and it's you've had a shit day at work, you text your friend, meet me at this bar at 5:01, no later.
Yeah.
And then
And I'm there at 4:45.
yeah, and we're those step-in friends, and we're just picking the problem apart so that hopefully you feel a little better.
I love it.
We
So
don't have any
perfect.
degrees. We want to say that up. We don't.
You have a degree in life.
Yeah, I've got the hard knock skills.
Yeah.
But I do think that it's just sometimes an outside point of view. Because up here, I could have a World War III just with me and my personalities. And I think that having another person to just be well, you've said that 4 times. Did you notice that you say that all the time? That you keep talking about your mom? And then it's when we're going to get into it.
I feel like in another life you were a therapist.
You were a therapist. I talk to people a lot about why I think therapy is so great because I think it's way more accepted now than it used to be. But it's exactly that. It's just someone who's trained in recognizing patterns and behaviors, listening to you talk, and going, "You bring this up a lot."
Yeah.
And do you know that this relates to this? And do you know I had a real mind fuck of a therapy session yesterday too.
I had
that
therapy
was
right before this.
I just had therapy here. I had therapy
I
12
had
to 1.
therapy last week. My therapist
Get
is
out.
on holiday right now.
Holiday,
out.
come on. What
Get
I feel like she's not
out.
committed.
Yeah, you should fire her. Oh my god.
We should all fire collectively fired.
So let's dive in with our collective anxieties.
Yeah.
So Robin and Steph, we're going to have you start.
Yeah.
What are you feeling anxious about and where are you at? Let's do like a around the table. and
Around
then-
Robin,
Where do I
yeah.
start? Like, I have
right?
so many. I truly texted Robin this morning, and I was like, I have to pick one anxiety. Like, literally, give me a theme, and I
You
could
can
probably
rattle
name
them off,
15,
and then
but,
we'll
like,
pick one to discuss.
I feel like my biggest, most pressing in terms of like on my mind anxiety is that I am Canadian, and
Ooh, talk about an identity crisis right
I
now.
am gay. My
Ooh.
partner is trans.
Wow, these are all disgusting,
Texas.
sinful things.
And I like moved to New York being like, my production company, so much fun. Let's like party after COVID and be super gay and do all the things. And now I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, like, what am I doing and why did I choose this? And I'm having like feelings of guilt because I have an exit. I'm having feelings of like hate towards this country for making me make these decisions. I'm like questioning everyone I love safety in my life and like, should we be moving to another country for safety? Is that something I should be prioritizing over like, growing my company? How real are the threats? How real is my anxiety? How real is my partner's anxiety? Also, like, I've taken this all the way to like retirement. Like, do I want to?
She really has.
I truly talked to Robin the other day. I was like, but like, where am I going to retire? Am I going to retire in New York City? Like, why would I choose to do that if I could retire in Canada and then I don't have to save an extra $1 million for when I lose mobility?
And I was like, slow your roll. I
I
think
have
you're
the
30.
same fear.
Yeah.
Robin's like, is there something I don't know that you're going to lose mobility? And I was like, well, no, but obviously, like in my brain, all of the things are happening constantly, and they're the worst case scenario.
We're very similar.
Yeah. So that's my one anxiety right now.
Okay.
That's a solid one.
I'm like, I could probably name like 45 others.
Also, like, was that one anxiety or was that
I don't
17? I'm just saying.
I
We
need
have
so
it's
much
one
help.
umbrella anxiety under which there's a lot more.
Yeah,
Which
my-
I feel like once you have one big one, all the other stuff that's even remotely connected
Oh,
to it
for
just
sure.
compounds.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah,
I'm
it's just
like,
all piling on
I
top
brought
of
it
one
like,
another.
what am I doing with my life? Should I get a new job? Should that be in Canada? I'm like, I love my job. Never once have I thought about my job, but yeah,
Oh my gosh.
help
wow.
me.
I'm with you. I'm
Help
with
me.
you. We'll help you if you help
Sorry,
us.
you're fucked.
I'm gonna go.
Next. I mean, like, and this was a really great episode. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for coming. All right, Robin, it's your turn.
Okay. I tend to struggle a little bit with perfectionism, and it's showing up a lot in parenting right now. Like, I have a Substack called Shit I Learned from My Crappy Childhood, and it wasn't great. But it made me who I am, all that jazz. We were thankful, great, blah, blah, blah. But I now have this thing, like, I need to make sure I do it better for them than was done for me. And I am panicked about how they're going to go in the world and what's going to happen to them, and will it be enough, and will I be enough, and did I do it right, and like, when you can see a problem coming, like, do I get in there? Am I getting in there too much? Am I too angry? Am I yelling too much? I always say, like, when you get a new car, a new t-shirt, and then that first stain is like, or the first dent is like, and then after that shit just gets all beat up and you're like, it's fine, it's comfy.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like my kids are these perfect things, and I'm so afraid I'm going to break them, or that the world is going to break them, or just that it won't be okay. Parenting is fucking hard.
Yeah. That's a lot because
That
that's
is
a
a lot.
significant responsibility and a responsibility I cannot relate to. I mean, I had a dog once, but
That's a big responsibility.
is nothing like raising a kid, of course.
Yeah.
But that's a lot of pressure to carry. And then, of course, you're reconsidering what's happening in the fucking world right now.
I know.
And are they going to be safe? Are they going to be
Is there
on
going to be
the
a planet for them?
I know.
Is there
Are they going to be
you
on
know-
the shit end of global warming? Like, what's going to happen?
Right.
Oh my gosh. It's terrifying. I totally hear you.
I know. So this was a really good show, you guys. I think anxiety was my idea.
Yeah, because
We
we're
all just
all
started
anxious
crying.
people. I feel like you can't live in New York City and not be an anxious person.
You also can't be like a go-getter and not
Yeah.
be anxious.
Right.
Like, if you're a hustler, I think you're going to have
that's
that
really
kind of energy
interesting.
of just like, I
One
gotta
comes
get
with the
somewhere.
other.
I got
Yeah.
someplace I got to be all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's constantly going. It's 24/7.
Which
Hustle,
is
anxiety.
wiring your whole nervous system to just be in
Yeah.
that jittery state all the time,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
I feel like becomes its own like feedback loop of
Yeah.
like that's okay.
So
I'll get-
I also, although we're on hiatus right now, I also host this other podcast called Dear Headspace with the meditation app. We had Dora, who's one of the meditation teachers, on a recent episode, and she talks about the stop technique. They all talk about it, and it's like literally S is stop, and T is take a breath. O is observe where you are, and then P is proceed, like proceed with the next action. And I was
love
like
that.
4 days after an incident, I'd be like, why didn't I do the stop technique? I was like, damn it. I was like, should have done that. I had a stop technique. And Dora was like, you have to practice when things are good. And so I have been, I just realized this morning that I have forgotten about it, but like I have been over the last few months, just if I just think stop, I stand and I so dorky. I'll stand on the street and just be like, put my hand over my heart to and like observe it and take some breaths. And it does help short circuit all that energy.
Wow.
Breathing, just breathing. Reminding yourself.
Why do we have to be reminded to do that?
Literally in therapy yesterday, my therapist was like, hey, can we just take a pause because you're hunched over? Can you just sit up and just look at the ceiling?
Pause, you're always like, I'm really fucked up.
Yeah. She was like, just look up. I want you to look up. I want you to sit up and I want you to take a breath. And I was like, look at that.
Mm-hmm.
I was literally this is how I was talking to her. And I had to like just physicality, posture, breathing, and not the shallow chest breathing, but just like diaphragmatic, like so proven to work.
And I feel like I want to breathe right now.
Like,
I know.
Everyone take a breath.
I usually get the like, well, let's sit with that for a minute.
Yeah.
Because I'm always like, and then, and she's like,
slow the
I'm paying for this
fuck
session.
down.
I have more things to say. I can't sit with this right now. I'll sit with it later. That's what I do.
we're on the clock.
Oh my God. Yeah, exactly. Literally.
If you've ever woken up feeling too hot or too cold, you know how much it can mess with your day. On Well Adjusting, there's always talk about finding ways to make life a little easier, and better sleep is a great place to start. Miracle Made sheets use silver-infused fabrics inspired by NASA, so they help keep your bed at the perfect temperature all night. Plus, these sheets stay cleaner and fresher 3 times longer than regular sheets, thanks to their self-cleaning silver. Upgrade your sleep this year. Go to trymiracle.com/comfort to try Miracle Made sheets today. Whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift for a loved one, if you order today, you can save over 40%. And if you use our promo COMFORT at checkout, you'll get a free 3-piece towel set and save an extra 20%.
You guys going to share anxieties, or is it just
let's
us out
do
here
it.
with our ass hanging out?
I would say this is a strange anxiety that I have that I still deal with all the time, is I have an irrational fear of large groups of gay men. This sounds very homophobic. It's not homophobic. I love
No,
my
you're a
gays.
huge homophobe.
As a straight man.
You're say you're a huge homo.
Yeah.
And I was like, well done. I was like, basic. I was virtually eyeballing you. And then you like said something really nice. And I
You
was
are
like,
not a sis. I am not a sissy.
We found this video. There was this video. Oh my God. It was so funny. There was a guy who, this is a
Hired
sidebar.
a
There's a
masculinity
TikTok
coach.
guy who is very queer and very feminine leaning and is like so cute and adorable. And they hired as a joke for a video, they hired a masculinity coach. And the masculinity coach is like, I am a man. And then the guy's like, I am a man. And it's like him. And it's so.
I'm not going to put stuff in my butt.
I'm not going to put stuff in my butt. It's so funny. I was so stoned watching it last night. I was like crying, laughing, and I sent it to Alex.
We're gonna
We were like,
recreate
we
it.
need to recreate it.
So back to your fear of large groups of gay
Yeah.
men.
Okay. It brings me back to it all surrounds like insecurities, not being enough. There, especially being in New York City. Of course, this goes for anybody, for wherever you are on the spectrum, whatever community you belong to. I think that there is, in New York City or metropolitan areas in particular, there is a sense of hierarchy and elitism because everyone's like trying to chase everything and accomplish so many things. And so when you go in particular to places like Fire Island or Provincetown, it's weird. They're safe spaces. They're like safe queer spaces. But then
Not
you
for
show
lesbians.
up. No, and you're right. You're totally
I've
right.
never felt more judged than around a pack of gay men. I'm always like, this is my good T-shirt.
Me too.
Yeah.
I feel
when
the
you said it,
same
I was like,
way.
I hear you.
I had a full.
It's middle school.
I think
It's
I
middle
am-
school.
middle school
it's,
all over
it's in
again.
the cafeteria, not knowing what table to sit at, and no one is inviting you to sit down. And you're like,
Fire Island
around,
was
someone makes a joke,
That
and
was
then-
the first time I really got it. When we went to Fire Island last year,
Yeah.
and I was like, haha, yes, I understand.
it's like everyone's a trust fund baby. Everyone has an 8-pack.
Rock hard
Everyone is
bods.
like 6'4". Everyone has like a 39-inch penis. Everyone like they own
seems
7
painful.
houses. That's not the case, but that's where my anxiety takes it. And then I'm just like, I'm I'm a cater
look how
waiter. What am I
handsome
doing?
you are.
You're
It's
such
like
a babe. No,
Right?
and I
It's
know,
like
and I know
it's
you're not
so-
doing, but yeah.
I know,
Thank
but
you,
it's
thank
like
you.
it's-
You're so kind.
But that's what's so crazy about when insecurities like that come up is like it's not based in reality in any way.
No.
This is a package. I could bounce a quarter off your ass.
You're so. Oh my God!
I'm
Thank
like,
you.
Seriously?
Tell that
I
to every
have.
top in New York City. Thank you.
Seriously? Did you?
I will.
So yeah, I think it's that. The biggest place that came out for me was last summer. I went to Provincetown with a group of my friends, and we went to like the infamous underwear party. Oh. Talk about an anxiety attack. I was with one of my best friends, Darren, and the rest of our friends were like living their lives and making out and having fun, being shirtless, and they're actually being in their underwear. And me and my friend,
jammies.
I know, right? I was in a onesie. Imagine. No, I was in a cute pair of underwear, but I just was like pounding vodka sodas to get through the experience, and was like, I'm gonna do a loop and try to talk to people. And it was just me being like, hi. Like I was so uncomfortable. And then of course I left and then got stoned and had a massive spiral and then like cried about it in therapy the next day. And it's not them. It's what it brings up in me. So my anxiety is identity right now as a gay man. I'm trying to figure out what is my identity as like a cisgendered white gay man in New York City, and why do other gay men terrify me?
I will say though, like it's not all you because the gay men are mean.
Thank you. They're
judgy,
mean.
especially in New
They're
York.
judgy.
Like, my friends always say like Manhattan gays versus Brooklyn gays, and like people fight. Like
I
the
know.
Manhattan gays, they're like, "Oh my god, that's a Brooklyn gay," and the Brooklyn gays are like, "Oh my god, that's a Manhattan gay." And there's like stereotypes, and there's like that goes beyond so much. And I feel like we're just doing the
Thank you.
patriarchy over again, but in the gay world, and it's like, why?
are.
Patriarchy.
You know what it is?
Patriarchy.
The gay patriarchy.
It's well done. You know that movie Never Been Kissed? It's like we all become
Yes,
Josie Grossi.
You're all Josie
Like,
Grossi.
it's like, and I know, I feel like I am 100,000 times more confident than I ever was in high school. Like, you didn't have to go far to get up from where I was in high school. I know if I went back to Homer High, I would immediately be that same girl who played football, and I would just be like, why does everyone hate me? Like, it would be awful. Like,
Homer High, more like Homo High.
Homo.
see what I did there? Did you see what I did there?
Boy, oh boy, the taglines we're coming up with today.
I love
There's
it.
so many people just going, ugh.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, they're not listening to this podcast.
Well, like
so-
halfway through, I was like, I hope I don't get in trouble for saying homo. I'm so afraid of our community.
No. No. All right. So gays terrify me.
Gays terrify you. This
Alex,
is
how about
so.
you?
This is so wrapped up. I had a therapy session about trauma response yesterday, and this is so. Okay, let me start with my anxiety, and then we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Back it up. I've been having a career / personal meltdown this whole winter. And the last couple months, it's like really peaked in a way that I've hit like a depression that I haven't been in since college, of like crying multiple times a day, a confidence shakeup that is like affecting the way I perform and the way that I like questioning whether or not this is the correct career path for me, or if I can do it, if I'm good enough, if I'm funny enough, all of that stuff in a way that is usually I have a pretty good perspective on stuff, because I've had cancer 3 times. So I'm able to pull out of like career bumps and be like, you have your health, and like that's the foundation, and all this other stuff, the stuff that matters is okay right now. And so you can figure this out. And I've been running into the last couple months really struggling with coming out of this slump and gaining that perspective. And I've been really feeling the physical anxiety of like waking up in a panic, waking up with a tight chest, feeling shaky, feeling exhausted, but then not sleeping, like all the physical symptoms, right? And I had a great session yesterday where we talked about that I've probably been living in a trauma response, because my therapist was like, when was the last time you physically felt like this? And the last time I physically felt like this was when I was waiting for the period between biopsy results and waiting for the biopsy results. And so we kind of parsed out that my trauma response kicks in when I'm in a period of significant unknown, or there's a lot of variables that I can't control.
Yeah.
And when I feel like I'm doing everything I can, but I still can't control the outcome, which is knock, knock, that's life. But for right now, I'm in a career transition period of I can feel that I'm leveling up, but I'm still in that middle space, and I've left the place that I was, but I'm not quite in the place in my next step. And so I'm in that really unknown space right now, and my trauma response has kicked in. Right now, my body thinks that we are waiting for cancer results.
Yeah.
That was like a huge realization to come to yesterday, and I spent most of yesterday absolutely sobbing and just shaking, and like, which I think is good. I think it's good to like get that out.
Yeah.
But it was really helpful to conceptualize that, and it sound like the trauma. I could hear kind of with everyone like the trauma response and like these like physical manifestations.
You're literally back wherever you like. Whenever it started, you're back there.
Yes.
You know, and it doesn't help that you're in an industry, like we're all in this industry, that like my wife and I did an audition this morning. Like sometimes they need the gays, and she's always like,
Was it for a hotel?
no, it was for pharma.
Oh, okay. It's always a hotel or pharma.
Yeah, always.
We need a gay couple.
Some lesbians.
Yeah.
And it was like one of those where you had to take like 17 photos. Like, here's you happy. Here's you this. And it's like, and there's not
Side effects include. Yeah.
Here's you having diarrhea as a side
gay.
effect.
the entire time. Mary was talking about her forehead and how big her forehead was. It was like 7 a.m.
Yeah.
And like, I was like, why? My smile, I was like fat. I was like, this is so weird. I was like, you know, it's like the business is, and then how mean people are and how they don't say anything. Like, it's not set up to make you feel safe and secure.
Correct.
On top of trauma response.
No.
You know.
No, it's not. And it's and I think it's up to everyone as individuals in whatever career you're in to figure out like what's your anchor point, what's the thing that keeps you here. There was this great quote by Elizabeth Gilbert that she wrote in Big Magic that I loved, where she talks about eating the shit sandwich. You're gonna have to eat a shit sandwich in whatever you do in life. Nothing's gonna be great all the time. There's gonna be shit sandwiches that you have to eat. So it's not whether or not you feel connected to your career or passion or whatever. It's how many shit sandwiches are you willing to eat for this particular endeavor that you're taking. If you want to be a hotshot lawyer, but you don't want to work 80-hour work weeks, then the shit doesn't matter. You're just not gonna. It's not gonna happen. If you want to be an artist, but you can't handle rejection at all, like then it's not gonna happen. You have to figure out what brand of shit sandwich you are willing to eat to like, you know.
Well, you
essentially,
have to
how
make
much do you love it?
Not be about you as well.
Yeah.
Right? So like, I love that. I'm just like thinking about your trauma response situation and just thinking about like how that's really personal and really specific and really in another time, right? So it's like you're traveling back to biopsy land and I'm traveling back to, you know, being home alone with my mom and at night and just being like, the sun will come up tomorrow. Like I'm back there without even realizing, like literally. And it's interesting that you said this because I said I just left therapy and she was like, your homework is to be aware this week when you are automatically going back to that 12-year-old. And it's like, so that's the really personal side of it. But then if you come over to this other side of it, it's not personal.
Right.
So like the industry is not personal. There's a way of working. They don't ever call you to tell you didn't get it. They just ignore you. Yeah. Or they say mean things to you, or they'll go, you're great, but could you lose 20 pounds? Or, you know, it's just, that's the business. And if you don't like it, you have to get out. Yeah. But these two things get squished together.
Yeah, they're not saying that to 12-year-old Robin.
No,
but you
don't even know she
you
exists.
interpret it as Yeah,
my wife Mary has this image of her 12-year-old who's in a car, and the car is her body, and like her current day person walks over to the window, and she's like rolling up the windows, locking the door, and driving off. It's like your 12-year-old has stolen the car, like hijacked the body. And I was like, when I saw it, I could picture her like little Mary being like, you know?
Yeah,
right.
Why
That
is
is
that?
so accurate.
My like 2025 goal was to have more space between having a feeling and automatically reacting, which like I'm not a very reactive person. So I'm always like I don't get angry or like, I guess in the traditional sense of like being reactive. Like I'm not gonna be like, fuck that motherfucker, blah, 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 and like get really mad. But I react in that like I'm like, I have a feeling and we are changing, like we are fully.
You go to We're All Gonna Die.
We're all gonna die.
I do too.
And like I am building like exit plan A, B, C, D, E, F, G for like me, my neighbor, like the person that lives 6 blocks over. Like
Well, what's that? The Viktor Frankl quote. There's the space between stimulus and response.
Yes.
Is the choice, and that's the space that you have to live in, and that's the space that you can change the trajectory of it.
But don't they always say that like that's so fucking easy?
Yeah. Okay.
Like
yeah.
it's like, and that's the funny thing is like on Well Adjusting, we're always talking to people and we're always like, all you have to do is, and then we're always like, but we understand that that's the hardest fucking thing in the history of man to do.
So hard.
For me, it feels like the flood is coming and it is about to sweep me up. And my responsibility, according to my therapist, to be like, no, tell the flood to pause. take a moment to regroup, and then you can get on dry land. And I'm like, no, that's literally, like, for me, it comes on, like, similar to you
tsunami.
stuff.
Yeah.
It's a full tsunami, a flood, a landslide of just, like, the anxiety comes in, or the 12-year-old Drew steals the car, and they are gone. It is so hard for me to put space
And
there.
you don't often know it happened.
No,
Like you are in another state,
absolutely.
like, and the real person's just holding on to the back of the car,
Yep.
and you're like in Pennsylvania now. Like,
Yeah, that's my thing is I'm already underwater. Like, so like me being like, oh, just pause flood. It's like, I'm already there. I just want like 1 minute and then maybe that'll become 5 minutes and maybe that'll become like 2 days or something.
I'm adding that goal to my goals for 2025. I'm stealing that from you because that is really, really,
Yeah. That's a
really
that's
good
smart.
We can be accountability buddies. I'll
Yes,
check in
please.
a year.
We'll text each other.
Accountability muddy buddies.
now I'm gonna take a little bit of a turn here because I want to
Please,
say
go for
that
it,
like
yeah.
as you're saying it, you all sound really fucking healthy, and that's lovely. But like I was having this feeling. Well, I mean, ish. I mean, none of us sound healthy. Like I had this image of
all
like
very
we're helping
damaged.
people, but I also feel like on the other side of it, I feel sometimes like just fucking exhausted.
Yes.
And like the idea that my goal is to have like 1 minute, 4 minutes is like, fuck.
Yeah.
Like, how about no? How about I have a week of calm and it just shows up right now because I fucking deserve it.
Yep.
You know, there's that feeling for me sometimes like that it's just hard, you know, and I know it is supposed to be hard, or maybe it's not. I mean, I don't know. Do we know? But maybe it's harder than I want it to be sometimes.
That's
Somebody's
exactly.
this is gonna be a cry for help.
Yeah.
We shouldn't record after I go to therapy.
That was the thing I talked about yesterday in therapy as well, was being like, I didn't think things were going to get easier, but I've done a lot of like self-growth, self-work in the last couple of years, done a lot of really, really hard life things. And I thought that once those things were done, that it would be like, okay, and now things will make sense.
You have
Now you
ascended.
deserve some space.
Now you deserve just a moment of like calm and happiness, and it's not here. And I think that's what's adding to this current level of like anxiety, stress, depression, is being like, is it gonna be this hard always? Because this feels untenable. Like
Well-
this feels real difficult to carry around.
Do you think, and this is a question for everyone, so we're obviously all people who are searchers trying to figure out, I mean, I could go to every one of our bookshelves and there'll be 400 self-helpy things.
Oh,
and like
yeah.
Got all the
things
same
we've
people.
tried,
The
and we're all-
Trauma bookshelf?
Yeah,
Yes.
and we're all trying to be fixed, and we're all like,
Self-help
if I could just be
books.
10% happier, right?
Yep.
Are we better off? Because, like, I feel sometimes when I believe this, I'm like, we have deeper conversations. And this is not an us versus them thing, but like we're involved, we're like in these journeys and there's growth. Or is the blissfully unaware person who does not dive in one iota, who's better off?
I ask this question all the time. I have a dear friend of mine who I share a therapist with. I remember, I think his mom said to him at one point, be careful with that therapy stuff. It'll drive you crazy. And, you know, her perspective essentially was, it's not worth diving in because if you can just stay blissfully ignorant on the other side of it,
Compartmentalize.
you'll just be more calm. And I think about that when I look at
America.
literally America. But like, this is one thing that I don't know. I compare myself a lot to, for some reason, to like straight men. Not all straight men. I love straight men. Everyone's great.
Hashtag not all straight men.
Not all straight men. But like, but in general, like when I'm in spaces with a lot of straight men, there is brutal confidence. And it's just this, like this
Just
confidence
talk about
that they
sports.
just walk through. Well, literally, I catered a party last week that was at a sports betting arena, essentially. And it was like a speakeasy bar with like 100 dudes that were all gambling and they were drinking and they were just having the best time ever. And they all were so confident and comfortable in their skin.
Asking for a 25% raise when they got no business doing it.
Sure. Yeah. And I was like, whoa. I was like, I want to have that kind of confidence walking through the world, but I don't. And I think about it. I'm like, oh, I'm in therapy because I'm queer and being an othered kid and blah, blah, blah. You know, all the laundry list of why I've been digging in and trying to figure out my space in the world and being an artist and et cetera, et cetera. But I do question, is it easier? Is it a little bit easier to just compartmentalize and not interact with the diving deep?
I think only if you're stupid because
Good point.
Oh, shit. She just threw it.
I mean, seriously, because like I have tried.
She's backpedaling.
No, I'm not. I'm a smart person, and I am like an anxious thinker. I'm constantly thinking. My brain is moving
Yeah.
very fast. If we're defining smartness by like thinking a lot,
You're emotionally intelligent as well. Yes.
And I'm like there is no way, and I would love it if there was, that I could be like, okay, I can give up this community thing that I do because I need to do one less thing. Like, I've tried and I can't because I'm still thinking about it. So like, I'm not happier because I'm not blissfully unaware. I think to be blissfully unaware, you have to be turned off to the problem.
Or just emotionally turned off.
Yeah.
You have to not be like present to your emotions.
Are you blissfully unaware? I feel like that eats you from inside.
Well, like maybe you're getting sick, or maybe you're like have ulcers, or maybe you have like, and I don't know, maybe you don't have deep relationships. I don't know, like we get the highs, but then we also get the lows.
Yeah.
I don't know which is better.
Do you find, I find something that in my, I feel like this whole winter has been like a breaking point for me where I'm like, okay, the systems that you have been implementing are not working for you anymore. So like try something new. And what I've been trying, not successfully, mind you, but I've been trying, is when I get in that super like wound up place, I'm like, okay, you're out of your body. You've dissociated. You're not in here.
Yep.
So stop thinking, stop journaling, stop therapizing, stop trying to think this through mentally, and go lie down, rest, take a walk, go do something that puts you back, grounds you back into your body. That's the new direction I'm trying to head in, of like balancing a little bit of because I think we all are like, there's a problem.
Zing,
Take to the journal.
We're doers.
Like,
We're doers.
Yeah, let's read 12 different books about why this is a trauma response or XYZ. And it's like sometimes
do the stop
we
technique.
don't need to think more, and we just need to breathe and not listen to music or not be stimulated by the biggest fucking city on the planet. You just need quiet time to sit back into your body. And I don't know if that's a thing.
No,
that
that's
like,
so interesting. I like love this because I've never thought about that. I always go to, I got to find the thing to fix me.
I'm the
Like,
same.
what's the thing? And what's so interesting is my whole family just left. I just got quiet, like because it's like when I talk about, because I was so happy they left, but I love them so much. But they left for like 5 days, and I was home alone. And I thought I was going to do all these things. We had plans. I didn't go. I canceled, and I just stayed at home alone. And half the time I didn't have the TV on. I just was like sitting in the quiet, and I had no idea how much I needed it.
Yeah.
But the idea of implementing that on a regular basis, I love that.
Well, I think none of us, particularly as thinkers, doers, New Yorkers, high functioning, probably type A's, the idea of sitting and doing nothing is so antithetical to everything that we do in life.
I'm already like, how do I do it right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do I do it right? Or how do I maximize
Perfectionist.
how do I maximize my rest time? Watch TV, catch up on all your shows, and then also get your watercolors out, and then sit on the couch with a cup of tea, but then also make sure you're learning how to paint water. How about nothing? How about stare at the fucking wall,
Couch
Alex?
rot, bed rot.
Like, are you kidding me? Like, that's my thing. Is like,
That's such an image of you doing all of that.
Yeah.
It was,
you have
it was
no
so
idea
amazing.
how much I try to maximize rest, and that lately I've been like, stop. Like, my new thing is, if I'm feel like yesterday, I had therapy, cried for like 2 hours, went to the gym, and then I came home and I was like, just lay down, just close your eyes. Even if you can't fall asleep, just close your eyes for an hour. And like that's the way forward for me. I can tell.
I love that, and I want to do that. I think I'm like afraid of it. And
However,
no, I think
Talk
for
to
me,
us about that.
No,
Yeah.
for me, it really is like I think like it's hard for me to decipher when I'm like resting versus like when I'm depressed.
Yes, I totally get that.
also lazy thoughts come creeping in
Yeah.
for me.
Lazy,
I'm
which
lazy.
is such an interesting word because lazy is.
Like there's nobody in this room that's
there's
lazy.
but there's
It's
also no
absurd.
such thing as lazy.
Wait, how's that? I'm like, I'm
I
there,
think
I'm like,
lazy.
well, I'm like,
I think lazy
people
is more
phoned
of
it
a
at work.
construct of our society. Of like,
Yeah.
I think there are people who who aren't productive in the way that maybe we
Might
want
just
them
not
to be
care.
or not care.
Yeah.
But lazy as an idea of like you're not doing enough. It's like why
to
do we
worth.
need to tied to worth? Why do
Yeah.
we need to be doing all the time? Like, and I totally get that. Like, because the last 2 weeks in particular, I've been doing a little bit more partying. I've been doing and
Atta
been
girl.
things that I know, right? It's been so fun. But I'm like, okay, so what's the difference between like depression drinking, having fun, and taking rest when you need it? And like, I can tell
You
what
know
it
when
is
you
for
know,
me.
you
I
know
know
when
when
you're-
I
you
know it. Like,
because you know what? It's like when you're doing it, when you're like, this doesn't feel
good. Yeah.
Okay, so what
Do we talk about healing at all, or do we
feel
just
like we
leave
should.
everybody in
I
this
think
place?
I think we should all go around and we will all we will all therapize each other.
Okay,
Yeah.
I love that.
Well, I feel like that's. I feel like we're like in the we're
the mud.
we're going
Homo.
Yes.
no homo, no homo,
No homo, no homo.
no homo, no homo.
Okay, so rallying back to Steph then. All right, so let's.
I moved to Canada.
So each of us give our
Yeah.
advice to Steph. Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, sure, or just collectively.
Yeah, I mean, even when you started talking about it, like it was like it like ramped up. It was like, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, and like it's almost like deconstructing that block by block of like, and kind of what you were saying of like when you're talking about being panicked about retirement, it's like we can panic about retirement in a second,
About 20 years.
in 20 or tomorrow.
Yeah.
But for right now, let's talk about what the rest of today looks like.
Yeah, we don't have to talk about mobility until you get hit by a bus or something. You know,
Yeah.
like cross that bridge when you get there. That's something that I struggle with all the time. Is Liz learning how to give yourself that space. But yeah, learn how to worry about those things when they actually happen, because 9 times out of 10, the things that you're afraid of or the things that you're anxious about aren't actually going to happen. And we are also, one thing to clock, as someone living in America at the moment, we are being fed from every single angle, from the newspaper on the corner to our Instagrams, to our TikToks, to our peers in conversation. We are being fed so much terrifying content at the moment that is so stimulating and draining and is only going to keep triggering your anxiety. So something that I'm telling you, because I need to tell myself this as well, is try and pull back if you can from what you're consuming, and
Take the New York Times.
take the New York Times off the phone, maybe, yeah, or at least turn the
Alert.
notifications off. Maybe I'm catching myself deleting my Instagram and being like, I'm just going to take a few days off Instagram because I can't read another terrifying headline from Pod Save America / The Washington Post / everybody else. It's all happening right now, and yes, our lives as Americans and as queer people and as an ally, as women, are being challenged. You know, our livelihood and our rights are being challenged on a daily basis. Here I am stirring up the anxiety again for you.
I was like,
Well,
back
do you know we had our last week's episode that we released was with Cacophony Daniels, who we talked about anti-drag legislation, and one of the things that she said and talked about was that we are also interpreting news and interpreting things without actually knowing exactly what the law is, right? So we talked about like drag being banned in Montana, and she was like, it's actually not banned in Montana. But if we're saying that it's banned there and we stop going to Montana to perform drag, then we're actually like adding on. It's self-fulfilling. So it's like being aware of what's happening without, and it's a fine line of awareness versus overconsumption. But like there's community and connection, and there's so many people who are also feeling this fear and panic, but also who are fighting back against it. And like, that's, yeah.
I think that's like part of the anxiety too. Like I just went across the border and there was like all this fear about how there are more border checks and they can look through your phone or your devices. And so I was like, well, as a doer and an anxious person, I have to delete everything off my devices.
Ooh.
And I was truly like trying to figure out, like, is this anxiety or is this real? And that was real. Like I reached out to an immigration lawyer, blah, blah, blah. That's real. But I have that like conversation with myself so often. And sometimes I can't decipher it. Like I'm like, am I just spiraling out here and like reinforcing the problem? Or is this real? Like a real thing to be worried about?
Well, I'm glad you said that because I want to, well, I'm not glad you said that or that you're feeling that. But I was going to say, I was going to add on to what you two are saying. Before this conversation, I would have said about like making lists to help yourself feel better of all the things you have and all the things you've got and your savings and whatever. But I'm like, I'm actually going to lean into what Alex said and say, maybe you just actually need to shut down. And it's adding on to what you're saying. It's like, and just not, and go do something different. We've shut off, as soon as the election happened, we shut off live TV.
Yeah.
I needed to take away MSNBC, CNN from myself. Maybe it's something like that version where it's just, okay, if I'm at the point where I'm talking about mobility, then I need to stop and do some watercolor, like just or lay down. Like I think that might be.
Well, and when I deleted everything off my phone, I haven't added it back.
Okay.
So I'm like, maybe I don't need it. Like maybe I don't need the freaking news. Maybe I don't need social media on my phone. Like,
Well, do you remember what we used to do for news, which was at 7 o'clock. You would
the
watch
5 o'clock, the local.
Yeah, you would watch news once a day and
Yeah.
get it, and then maybe read the paper the next
And it was
day.
vetted.
And it was vetted, and it was one show.
Yeah.
That's fine. We can still do that. So just pick whatever your thing is and have it be one dose a day.
And I think you're like, we always talk about unwell adjusting about the rubber band moment. You know how like
Yeah.
they think about snapping when you
Yeah.
try to quit smoking? I think your rubber band moment is when you are years in advance in the future.
Yeah.
Like whenever you are thinking 10 years,
So you're like
15
trigger
years,
word to
that
be
means-
like-
that means, okay, stop.
Retirement.
Yeah.
Loss of mobility.
Yeah, I do think bringing it back to being like a little more stupid. I don't think I'm.
Not a bad idea.
It's not a bad idea, and it's not. I think said like I'm never going to be the person that can just like turn off caring or looking things up or whatever.
Of course.
But I can at least minimize how often I'm doing it.
Yeah.
It's a-
Do we declare
it's
her
a tough-
healed?
Yeah, you're
You
healed.
are
You are healed.
You're healed.
Now it's time to heal
Bye.
Robin.
What would you do if I just got up and left? I'm like, I'm healed. Bye.
I would love that actually.
I'm done.
I have given Robin advice on this before, and I'm going to say the same thing
Yeah, what
that
did you
I've
say?
said.
I'm curious to hear what you said.
The thing you're afraid of, you are already not. You are afraid of being a bad parent in the way that you were parented poorly,
Mm.
but you have already parented your children. Like they're already existing in the world and they're fucking awesome. Like I love your children. I don't love a lot of people. Like I love your children and they're good people and they try hard and they're already being raised by like 2 awesome humans. And it's like, you're afraid that you're going to become your mother, LOL, your father, LOL. Like literally any person in your past, I have absolutely no fear of you becoming because you've already lived through that and you've identified what's wrong with them and you work so hard to not be them.
It's one of those things where I feel like if you are already aware of it or self-aware and you're already focusing on it, you're already leaps and bounds beyond where the person who traumatized you was that brought you to the space that you're in right now. I have to talk about that with my therapist all the time, is realizing that I am not my parents. I am not the people who raised me, and that I have already done significant amount of work. I have more tools and resources at my disposal that they never had. And this is the whole thing about healing generational trauma, of learning how to move forward or like clock where you're at and then how to move forward and be better. So your children are already leaps and bounds. Even if for some reason you were a monster mom, I know that you're not. I'm absolutely certain that you're not. But even
I heard
if you were,
Yeah.
even if you were, I think that you are already leaps and bounds beyond what your rough upbringing parents, I don't know the full circumstances, but what they did for you or did not do for you. So I think you're already well on your way, and it's reminding yourself like, I actually do have the skills, I do have the work, I've put in my self work to make myself a more capable and loving, intelligent, emotionally intelligent parent. So I think you're in good shape.
You need like a mantra, I feel like, to come back to reassure yourself that like you're doing a good job more.
I was going to say, my therapist said something along the lines of like, and by the way, this is so uncomfortable to be in the hot seat. I prefer to be the other person.
I can see
Great.
you're getting
Yeah.
tense. I see it.
Hey, just look up.
Shaking it out.
Yeah. Change your body.
Do the stop technique. Do something. But she said something along the lines of like if you're afraid the other shoe's going to drop, she's like, but it hasn't right now. Just like she's like, if that's all you can add on right now, that's enough. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Positive affirmations also. Just even saying before you believe it, I'm a great mom. I'm a great parent. Like that's so helpful.
So way to go.
Healed.
Okay, so for you, something that I think is so helpful is action based. So like when you're feeling like super insecure about a particular thing. So like being in like gay spaces and you're like, I don't feel confident, like looking for less action based, looking for like the positive stuff in there. Like you have, it's wild to me when you talk about what some of your insecurities are, because when I look at you, I'm like, this is a perfect man.
Perfect.
Inside and outside.
So uncomfortable, but thank you. I will take it.
I know. But I think you have so many people in your life that love you for so many different reasons, and focusing on all that rather than like the things that are so deep inside, like deep rooted that rooted up from childhood that are like no longer valid, no longer like useful for you.
I want you to stare in the mirror at your ass, number one. Number two, and this is sort of negative, but I want you to look around the room and just be like, I'm better than him. I'm better than him. I'm better than him. I'm better than him.
That's tough. I will try.
I feel like you could.
Play the
start with the
hierarchy.
really obvious ones. Like there's some that you're just like, that one's roided up and has, he has back knee. Like just start there.
But what if he's like a really kind human? Like I'll try it. I will try it.
By the way, I don't know that it's good advice.
No, I know. I'll try it. I'll try it.
When you're being mean to yourself about your looks, are you ever thinking like, oh, but some of these people are thinking I'm a really nice person?
No.
So give yourself that.
Boom.
Okay.
I'm like, write. I want sticky
Yeah.
notes. I always give people sticky notes, but I'm like,
Yeah.
2. 1 says like the gays are mean. And the second says like your top 6 things you love about yourself. And they can be physical. They can be shallow. They can be not physical. They can be whatever you want. And I want you to like read them every day for like 6 months until you believe them.
I love
That's
that.
incredible. Just
one more
overall,
sticky that
top
says Robin
6.
said I have a great ass.
Yeah, absolutely. That's 3 stickies.
I'm loving that you guys are loving my ass. This means a lot. Thank you.
Great ass.
I like my ass too. That is one thing I really like.
It's a phenomenal
Say
ass.
to me as a kid, nice ass, kid, which is like so inappropriate.
No, but it's like that's what moms are for. Healed.
Healed. Thank you.
Okay, and we have okay, here we go.
I'm so sorry that you're waking up in the morning with that body feeling. That is awful. And my only like healing thing for you is recognizing that that's an awful feeling and being gentle to yourself, because that is really fucking hard. And I have had months where I'm waking up like in a panic, and that's really hard to get out of when you're a doer, because you're going to be so critical and hard on yourself. So I'm like, I just got emotional.
Ooh.
But my advice is just like, be gentle with yourself, because like you can't get out of like, you can't homework yourself away when your body is in that space.
Oh, love that. Thank you.
And I'm only going to add on to that. You've had a tough spot. You've had a lot that you've had to deal with. Like that would be hard on absolutely anyone. And so I only want to echo what Steph said, which is just be kind, be gentle, and just remind yourself of that. Like I love being like talking to like young me or scared me and just
6-year-old
being like,
self.
yeah,
Oh,
and
boy,
just
have I been
being
seeing
like,
her a
mine's
lot.
got a bowl
Yeah.
cut, like blonde hair, then boys jeans, like, and just being like, it's okay. Like you're doing great.
Yeah.
You're doing great. And it's not then. So I just
Yeah.
I just want you to just talk nice to your little person.
Thank you.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah.
Healed.
Healed? You're healed?
Wow. We're healed.
Oh my God.
4 people
And
healed.
by the way, everyone listening was like, I don't know if they're gonna be okay. There was like a real
know,
like
right?
people
we'll
were like,
be
this
fine.
is
Yeah, we're going to be just fine.
We'll be
All
fine.
good.
We have 2 minutes.
We have 2 minutes.
We have 2 minutes.
We are going to
Rapidest
hit
rapid
these
fire.
rapid fires. Okay, so
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Cake or cupcakes?
cake,
Chocolate or vanilla?
chocolate,
How many times do you check to make sure the stove is off before you leave your house?
0,
Plain bagel with chive cream cheese or everything bagel with plain cream cheese?
chive, cream cheese.
Rocket to the moon or submarine
Wait,
to
I
the
can't have the bagel. I have celiac. Keep going.
Okay, rocket to the moon or submarine to the bottom of the ocean?
Neither. I'm claustrophobic.
Okay.
Okay, Steph.
Wow.
If your anxiety was a dinosaur, what dinosaur would it be?
Ooh, a triceratops.
Favorite green vegetable?
I love all of them. Arugula.
Kill, fuck, marry. Sour Patch Kids, brownies, popcorn.
Marry popcorn, kill Sour Patch Kids, and I don't remember the third.
Fuck brownies.
You're going to fuck brownies.
Oh yeah, wet and gooey. Love it.
Okay.
So sorry.
Would you rather walk from New York to Florida or take the LSATs until you pass?
Walk from New York to Florida. I would enjoy that.
What planet would you want to visit other than Earth?
None. I have no interest.
Okay. Earth is just fine. Let's save
I'm like,
Earth.
we've already
Honestly,
fucked this one up. Let's
Perfect.
just
I have no interest.
yeah.
Boom.
Wow.
That was the most rapid fire we've ever had, I think.
You
Bravo.
nailed it.
Well done.
Well, this was truly phenomenal.
That was
I loved
so
it.
delightful.
That was
My
like
heart
so.
is- I
I know.
feel
I
lighter.
feel really good.
Me too. I feel a lot better.
I feel way better. So see you guys next week.
Feel healed and adjusted.
Yeah.
Ah.
Well, so where can we? So well adjusted. We can follow you on
All the platforms, and
It's adjusting.
this is why
Perfect.
producer Steph is
That's
here.
why we have
I'm
you,
always like,
Steph.
big picture. I'm like, they'll find us.
Amazing.
All the platforms.
All right.
This was so
Well,
lovely. Thank you for having us.
This was so
Thank you
joyful.
so much for
having
coming
both
in.
of
This
you.
was awesome. I
My
loved
heart
it.
is so happy.
Yeah.
All right, make sure you go online and you like, follow, and subscribe both Into the Mud and Well Adjusting Podcast.
Yes.
Follow both, like both, And for more content, give us a follow. All right, we love y'all. Thanks for listening.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
For more Robin, and you may need that, you probably don't need it, but like if you do, you can follow me at Real Rob Hops on all the platforms, all the socials, as the kids today say. Well Adjusting is an Edit Audio original series. It's exec produced by Steph Colburn and Robin Hopkins. Our producer and editor is Maria Passingham, and our production manager is Kathleen Speckert. Thank you to the entire Edit Audio team and to you for listening. Oh, hey, before you take out those AirPods, this show is just for entertainment. If you are in need of help, please, please, please reach out to a professional. Go ahead and get that help. You deserve it.